Okay, it looks like it's 7 o'clock. I'm going to make a motion that we open this meeting. And second to that motion. Second. Josh, all those in favor? Aye. And can we stand to do the pledge, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If we don't speak loud enough up at this front table, then you have to raise your hand and tell us to speak up because we can't hear. Tim says these might help out. We'll find out. I'd like to thank all of you for coming. This to us is a very important meeting. I have to give Steve the credit because he really has spent months and months trying to come up with a solution. We talked with other people like Ace and PJ to see if they didn't want to take over the landfill. We met with them. They're not interested in doing that. Steve's made trips to the other transfer stations in the area to see how things run. So we thought it's time that we need to get input from the public. We're going to lay out the way things look, explain what we'd like to try to do for the next few months, and see whether that works or not. But when you do wish to speak, if you wouldn't mind, when you raise your hand and stand up, just state your name so we have some idea, and Nancy has an idea to put in there.
They have to come up with a mic.
They do have to go up.
Yeah.
All right, so when you speak, please go up to the mic. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Steve because he has all of the information laid out for us. And I do want to thank him again. I cannot tell you how many hours I know that he has spent on this. So, all right, Steve, it's all yours.
Well, good evening, folks. Thank you all for coming. I appreciate you coming up for this important meeting. I'd like to also thank the transfer station employees that we have working for us right now. It's been doing a really good job. That's Leo Lucas, Wally Peterson, Pat Hines, who recently retired, and Rick Myers been helping out. I'd like to thank them for the time that they spent up there trying to keep the place open and moving forward. With that in mind, we've been looking at some expenses too as a way to try and keep the place open. We've got Casella has reduced the hauling fees for us. We got them to go from $585 a haul down to $500, which is a pretty substantial reduction. We also have tipping fees, which are where they get it to place, they drop it, and somebody else takes it away. We've had a reduction in the tipping fees from $85 a haul to $54, or $31 per tip savings. So all that adds up as we move forward, and that's why that we need to watch our expenses carefully, because again, expenses, as you all know, can eat you up. We have our staff's been working a lot of extra hours. Some guys are on Wednesday, some guys are on Saturday. Sometimes the Saturday guy goes up and helps the Wednesday guy. It's okay, right? And again, conversely, the Wednesday person will help the Saturday person. And Rick has been going up and helping a couple times also. We really appreciate that. There's application forms over there if anybody would like to go pick a job up. It's Wednesday and Saturday, 10 to 4 of the hours. I see that there's still the same amount we put out there. So if you change your mind, we're ready to roll. I'd just like to go over and tell you a little bit about the income and the expenses. Yeah, Winnie.
Steve, would you talk slower, please?
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's go over some of the revenue and expenses for this year. As of today, the revenue for the transfer station is $39,416.77. The expenses as of today are $58,160. That's a net loss of $18,752.47. So when you annualize that at $2,344 per month, it comes out to an annualized loss of 28 grand, which is not good. I don't think it's good for a couple reasons. First of all, people that participate in there are doing a good job of bringing this stuff up. We're trying to tighten this up a little bit. But again, you know, we take money that we get. There's no town tax. A lot of these towns have a town tax that works with the transfer station. You know, we're the only town in the Adirondack Park without a town tax. So hence, we have to keep that place going on revenue and try and reduce expenses. So what we're going to do is we're looking at a few different things, and we'll just go over with it. We're looking at changing procedures. We're looking at probably a new traffic pattern. We're looking at handing out sheets, coming up to the place. Again, let's envision, you've all been coming up there. You know where the entrance and the exit are. So what we're envisioning doing is when you come up to the exit, that would be the entrance. Where you go out now, you're going to come in. We'll have a one stop like the other towns have, and right by the compactor and by the office. One person will be up there, and they'll come up and look at what you've got in your car or your cart or wherever you're coming up. He'll add up what you've got in the back. He'll give you a total. He'll bring it up. He'll give you a receipt. He'll give you a sheet with BIN's number. We'll go over that, and you go on your way. The next person will come up, and then you go around the circle. You go back up. You turn to the left. We're going to move the recycle stuff. You turn around, turn away. The cardboard will be turned around, and where you've been coming in, you'll be going up. So it's going to be a different traffic pattern. It's going to take a while to get used to, but you know, I don't have any doubt that we can do it. They do it in the other towns extremely well, and it's pretty efficient. So what I'd like to do is just show you just a couple things. When you came in on the stand, you saw those signs right there. There's been one, there's been two. Leo, could you hold that sign up for him? Right over there, would you mind? Lake George Lettering, Phil Swanson will be making signs like that. He's gonna put them on a pole and then a 5-gallon bucket. We put some cardboard ones on some of the containers before, obviously, when someone took the containers out to buy a sign. So we're gonna make those more permanent now. And to have larger signs on the building, where there's some signs on the building right now, we'll have new price sheets on the building. So everybody will be familiar with the pricing. So we thought about putting in a scale, and the scales are rather quite expensive. Takes a long time to put a scale in. You have to weigh this stuff bag by bag by bag, you know, get a total. So some places do that, and some people don't do that. Some people have a punch card. Well, the punch card's all good and well. If you've got a bill that's $5.49 and it rounds down to $5, it's good. But if it rounds up to $5.51, you round up to $6. People go, well, why do I pay $6? It should be $5. So, you know, sometimes that does create a situation that it's not worth even talking about. So what I'd like to do now is I'm going to hand out sheets, if you don't mind. Lee, could you just start passing some of these around for me, please?
He had you come for a reason.
Right. If you wouldn't mind. And we'll go over some of those pricings with you. And again, these are pricings that are very competitive with the other towns around. I'd like to thank Amanda for pricing them out today, but of course, when she did it, she missed a couple on the back sheet, so that's not a problem. Yeah. If I take a second to sort of scan those over, if you would, please. You'll see that some of the stuff is pretty much where it's been. Some of the things that are being pricing are sort of nebulous, and we try to take that and make it so it's not.
Josh, would you mind bringing me up one, too, please?
Everybody got it?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So again, you know, there's a reason behind all of this. And again, with the items that they haul away, you know, there's obviously inherent pricing that goes with those. The county is having a new, and, you know, we're trying to stay ahead of the curve, and what the county is doing, and they haven't come up with 100%, but they've got different pricing levels. Who knows what they're gonna pick up? But let's just take a look at this right now. If you take up on the first page, bulk items, they're the same. Nothing's changed on that. $4 bag, $6 bag, $10 bag. Brush and grass, you know, we take brush and grass. When you come in to the road, there's a place to the right where they can haul a lot of road broken up asphalt, stuff like that. It's like you to come up and show us what you've got there, tree limbs, some grass and stuff like that. And the person at the door would say, okay, so $15 for a medium-sized pickup truck. So whatever you get in a medium-sized pickup truck, you know, a 5-foot bed, a 6-foot bed pickup truck, $15 is cheap to get rid of the stuff. It's under the market. Right? Recycling, again, if you drop off a bag with no compacting charge, you know, there's no charge if you bring trash with it. If you just bring up a recycling bag, just $1 a bag. We'd also like to, when you bring up your bags, we're going to ask a couple things. If you bring it up in a bag and you want to recycle, it doesn't have to be in a bag. You can have it in a box, something that the person at the stop pit will be able to see. Because again, if you have it in a bag, who knows what's in that bag? If you have a black bag, who knows what's in it? If you have a clear bag, who knows what's in it? So if you could go to stores and get a box, I personally go to Costco and get those boxes that they have stacked in the back of the building. And I put all my stuff in there, so when I go back up, I know this is gonna go there, that's gonna go there. So it makes it easier that we don't get overcharged if the right stuff goes in the right bin. Hence, it makes it more cost effective for everybody, makes it better for you all. Like for instance here, now these are to be determined. This is sort of what we're looking for right now. As you would leave, you'd go to bin number 1, and there'll be directional things. Phil will make directional signs. So bin number 1 would be newspapers and magazines. Pretty simple. Number 2 would be non-returnable plastic items, food container, detergent bottles. All of those are up there. And if you'll notice on the bottom of those, they have that little triangle with a number on it. Those are all non-returnable bottles that we have to segregate to put in a separate bin. And I put a little black mark around the bottom. Any of those ones you see up there, food containers, yogurt, pill bottles, some drink bottles, Tide bottle, you know, there's a plastic bottle that's some kind of salad came in it. Those are all on the bottom. They've got that little triangle with a number on it. Those are non-returnable plastic items. Then we go to bin number 3, and you've probably seen it. Bin number 3 is nickel returnable bottles, you know, a beer bottle, pop bottle, a water bottle. It says New York State returnable on it. And those, all the money that we get for that, Eric takes up to Crown Point, and all that money goes to the Hague Food Pantry. So by you helping to segregate your stuff and putting it in that bin, it benefits Hague residents who do use the food pantry. So that's a real plus, and we really appreciate your help on that. Number 5 would be metal only, washers, dryers, metal frames, grills, lamps, metal chairs, microwaves, vacuum cleaners, so on and so forth like that. Soup cans, pet cans, food, that would go in the metal container thing. And again, the list goes on, but those are the big things, the washers and dryers and the frames and stuff like that. So the next one would be bin 4, which would be furniture. And again, furniture is listed, for instance, be like, if you look at the back, furniture items, chairs, small, recliner, $20, end table, small, on the back page, $7. Mattresses, right in line, twin double, twin kings, a sink, a double bowl sink, toilet should be in there for the same thing, $10. A sofa, love seat, sleeper couch. Those are things that would be going in that bin. Going on to the next one would be like C and D. Construction debris. Siding, shingles, windows, doors, sheetrock, wood planks. You want to make it go by a pickup bed load. You know, if you got a 6-foot bed pickup truck, it's $45. We lowered the price. If you've got an 8-foot bed pickup truck, it's going to be $60. You know, we'll be looking at trailers too. When you get a trailer, we'll put trailer prices up there too. 6-foot or an 8-foot trailer, so we'll adjust the price on that. And again, if it's over the top, so if it's a 6-foot bed's $45, and let's say you've got time and a half, 1.5 higher, so you take, you know, $22 more would cover that. So it'd be half of the 45, so we round it down. So we'd add another $22 on that just to get rid of that C and D. The next one, the cardboard bin box, you know, I'm sure you all seen it. The only thing we're gonna be able to put in there is corrugated cardboard. That's the heavy cardboard, has the ripples on the back, you know, the corrugated stuff, like a big box. It's not like a food rack, you know, a case of beer. It's not like a soda box, not like a cereal box. Those go in the trash. These are just corrugated boxes, and right now I believe that the mill is switching over, doing a lot of corrugated cardboard now also. So that's what we want to go up there. Okay, now you go down, and here's like the metals and stuff we were just talking about. Loose and scrap metal, $20 a yard. Metal chairs, $7. Lamps, 5, 10. Grills, 15. Ice box, freezers, $30. We can't take anything with Freon. The nice thing about it is, if you have something with Freon, you have it removed, and you have the tag on it saying that Freon's out, we'll be happy to take it. If not, remember Silver Bay every year has a time when they take items like that. They just had it a couple of weeks ago, and they'll be happy to take that from you then. Tires, pickup truck tires, car tires, $10. They have to be off the rim, which is no problem. If you mix the tire with the metal, then you've got the wrong thing in the wrong spot. So that doesn't help the cost. And again, you turn it over on the back side, carpets, $25. Small chair, large chair, recliner. End tables, they'll go in the furniture. This will all go in the furniture. Footstools, mattress, box springs, kings. And again, we're talking about that sinks, sofas, so on. So that's basically what we're trying to do. And what we'd like to do is have you take a look at this. Take a second or two to look at it. And I'm sure you've got some ideas, thoughts that you've thought about doing. Yeah. If that's the case, again, if you raise your hand after you thought about it, we'll be happy to have you go over to the speaker. First of all, Ginger's in the back. What do you got?
Okay, so 2 things. I just want everybody who's listening online to know if they want to ask questions, they can just type into the chat that they want to, and I'll open the mic at the right time for them. The other thing is there a way that the people that are online can view this handout? Because it is, I don't have it here either, and it's hard to follow what you're saying without it. Can they go on the town website and get it?
It's not
No,
there
we
yet.
just typed this up this afternoon. Amanda just typed this up. We'll get her to put it on tomorrow on the website.
So they'll be able to find it on the
Yeah,
town
they
website?
yeah, we'll give it back to her and then she can make some notes.
Thank you.
I don't know how to do it, I do, you know, but she just finished that up late this afternoon.
Okay, thank you.
You're up.
You said cereal boxes go in the trash?
Yes.
Hey, the only thing in the cardboard now is corrugated cardboard, big boxes.
And paper like this would go in the trash?
Not newspapers. Newspapers, right.
Ham.
Did you go up to the?
I see nothing about metal
Can you
tin
go up there,
cans,
Ben?
metal tin cans or glass.
Metals and tin cans, we talked about metals and tin cans, they're gonna go in the metal box. She didn't get that on there, tin cans, soup cans, pet cans, they're gonna go in the metal thing. Just no card, just put them in there.
What about glass?
Glass, any glass like a wine bottle or something like that is gonna just go in the recycling. We don't have on our master list for the county any glass pickup, so that just goes in the recycling.
Recyclable, meaning bin number.
Well, there is a big recyclable bin.
Whatever, but there's a bin number for it.
Bin number 2.
Non-recyclable, no, there'll be a regular recyclable thing, so that's, you know, really good, but we just did this after, but there will be a recyclable bin like there is right now. Right.
Yes, sir.
Thinking of the post office, 60–70% of my mail, you know,
Right.
I have to pay to get rid of it. I'm gonna dump it in the post office.
You could, they have a container right there at the post office. for-
What do they do with it?
I don't know, that's, you have to ask
That's a
them.
good question.
That's a good, I don't know what she does with it. I don't
I'm
know.
serious.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what she does with it, but there is a spot there where if you have a box and when you pick it up, you see that she's got that trash can right there. I don't know what she does with it. She doesn't bring it back up here though. I have no idea. You'll have to ask her.
Silver Bay post office, they put that box away. There's no box to put any trash. in.
Right. I think they must all have some, I don't know where they put it.
It seems like all the recyclable stuff, all of a sudden it's becoming trash.
Right. I don't know where she puts that stuff, but she has a box right there, you know, and she's put paper in, so I see people putting it in, so she must have a place to get rid of it. I don't know where it is, so. Doesn't go up here. She doesn't bring it up to the
bags. I'll bring my bags up. Somebody can look through the bag and see what's in them.
Not if it's in the.
That's not
it's
shredded.
No, not if it's a trash bag.
just gonna go in the.
Right. So your question is, if you have scrap paper, right?
Yeah.
Right, so let me make a note. Well, that's a good question.
You got your newspaper, you got your junk mail.
That's in one of your newspapers.
Yeah.
You have a
I'll get,
gentleman
I'll let you
like-
know, so I'll let it- but again, this is what we're gonna put it out to, so you guys have questions, so scrap paper, I'll find out where it goes, and we'll put it online in the proper spot, you know, for sure. Thank you.
Right, so,
Hi, I'm Deputy Earl Justin Duncan. And I was a selectman in Massachusetts, we had the same issues.
Okay.
We had a transfer station, we also had a incinerator that we applied. But we made money on all of this, on all recycling, and we made money on all metals. So when you take stoves and washers and dryers, and you don't charge people for that, you're gonna get money on it, right? You sell
No, it goes in there, you know, that's why we have washers and dryers back, you know. They
it.
were,
You use scrap metal, washing, what's the difference? It's metal.
I know, it's metal, but you know, like $30 each, a freezer, air conditioner, refrigerator, stoves, same thing.
You don't get paid for that?
you can just haul it
We
away.
don't get.
Where's the trash go? Kingsbury?
No, they have different spots where it goes. It's a county bid. I had a company come up here that was down by Albany. It was all, what the hell was the name of that company?
Conversions.
No, not Twin Bridge. It was a company that did metal, and I had them come up, they visited twice, right? And they would pay for scrap metal, right? And they said, to haul it from here, and there's not enough of it, they couldn't do it. But we did investigate that, because again, I thought the same thing you done. If we're getting metal in there, and people are paying for metal, the other ones don't, Casella doesn't pay, Ace doesn't pay, the new company in Ty doesn't pay. He was the only one, and he finally said, listen, Steve, it's just too far, economic, unfeasible for us to come up and pick it up. Because they were somewhere down by Albany.
Has your county government helped you with this now?
I'm sorry,
Do you have a county government that helps with this?
the county doesn't help, county, no.
They just
They just
send out the bids, they
send the
send
bids
sheets
out.
to us telling us how much the hauling's gonna be, how much the.
The other thing I'll say is that as a taxpayer in town, I pay a lot of taxes, and I think this should be one thing that could get.
There's no taxes.
We
in
don't
this
pay
town.
taxes for the town.
Or we're not gonna start either, because first of all, it's not fair. If we put, we can't impose a tax, because a lot of people have curbside pickup, and that's their own choice. They wanna have curbside pickup from the 2 or 3 companies that come and pick it up, and they pay $25 a week, bi-weekly, whatever it has
So
to
you're
be.
saying this way sewer.
No, the sewer, we have sewer up here, and there is a sewer tax that you pay, but there's no trash pickup, because again, a lot of people in town, sewer district is only 2 districts, 2 areas. Anybody can go to the dump up there. If you don't want to go to the dump, you can contract with 1 of 3 pickup people. So it's not fair for us to say, okay, now we're gonna charge you guys a tax. It's not a tax, it's a fee. Right, and we don't charge any tax here.
Yes, sir.
What about shredded paper?
I have to ask shredded paper. I'll have to ask about that.
We send it up there now, Steve, so I guess we need to find out where it goes.
Yeah, I'll check on that. That'll be a notice. And then the other thing too is, what the hell is that other stuff? You know, the white stuff, styrofoam, that just goes in the trash. Styrofoam just goes right in the trash. Thank you.
other question, or if you think you have a different solution or a better way to run it, that's the other thing, we're waiting.
Any idea, that's why we want you guys here tonight.
We're looking for your input on that, yes.
I have Mary Lawrence, I have a question on your calculation of your costs. You said to David so much, you amortized it over the year. Certainly the cost in January is different than July.
Sure, it is, of course, absolutely.
Is this an average cost over the year?
Right, yes, that's right. So right now, month to date, we're at, let me get it again.
$18,752.
We're at, right now, we're at an $18,000 loss.
That's
Again,
year to
year
date.
to date, that's
Yep.
correct. So that takes in the time when the summer people aren't here, plus it takes in, June, July, and August when the summer people are here again.
Okay,
So the expenses obviously are reduced in the winter months when we got 600 people here.
yeah.
But again, so in the summertime.
So you're at 18,000 for 8 months.
Right,
So estimating that you're gonna be at 29 is pretty darn high.
Well, that could be true, because again, I just took the average, what it is right now, and the average now also includes the months when there were just residents here, not summer people. So again, that just used that number, the only number I had going forward. I didn't want to speculate. That's a good point. It probably will be a little bit less, because again, September, October, November, December, it's gonna go down, but again, the cost for the employee, we raised the cost on the salaries to help, because again, we were behind the money on that, so we raised that up to help the guys that were there. So again, that's extra expense.
When does this begin? On Wednesday?
No. We're gonna, this again, that's why we want to have you guys here tonight. So we want to talk to you guys, once we get done, answer the questions that you asked and put it back online. And then we can finalize that, because, Phil's gonna have to make the signs. He's gonna take those signs. I've got to get the other containers from Casella's. So if we get it in the, let's say 60 days to get all these things put together, because I've got to get more bins up there, the traffic pattern has to change. So it's not an immediate thing, but it's something that we need to do, because we feel that to keep it open, this is a way that we believe, after watching the other people, Oricon, Warrensburg, the way they do it. And once you get used to doing it, you know how to do it. Like when I was talking to the gentleman that runs the one in Warrensburg, he says, it takes about 3 times, and the people know where to put this, where to put that, where to put this. There'll be signs, there'll be handouts. It's not a hit or miss thing. So the hit or miss thing is what kills us now. Because when it goes and it's all mixed up, they've got to take it and it's sorted, and then the fees go up, and then we have to listen to them, moan and groan.
but it will be more work on your part, because you have to get this basically sorted out before you go up to the transfer station. So, I'm going to bin 1, bin 4, and bin 6, but you're gonna have to do that before you get there. You want to go up there and start sorting through which bin that you're gonna hit.
Right, and you will know which bin to get. Pam?
So my next question is, so you're gonna be going up the hill.
Yep.
To, drop off your stuff. What happens if it's an ice storm or winter and people are sliding backwards on it?
Oh, you're still gonna slide up the hill if you're not.
No, it's not quite so bad as the first turn to the left.
No,
So
but-
my question would be, is it gonna be managed so people aren't gonna slide down the hill, waiting in line?
Right. Well, we hope that doesn't happen, but again,
But we do have highway,
The
and
highway is-
they're open on Wednesdays and Saturdays.
and I have to say they do it. The highway crew does a good job of keeping the roads clean up there. They do a good job of keeping the driveways up there. And again, I have a lot of confidence in our highway crew, and I don't look at that as an issue. But thanks for bringing it up, Patty.
I just want, I was gonna bring that up later, but now that you brought it up, I was gonna ask you, because you're up there more than anybody,
He is.
of everybody on the board.
You're absolutely right, Pat.
But I was concerned about the same thing that Pam brought up. Because you go up there, maybe you never noticed, but when you go up there, this side of the driveway always runs out and is always, they always gotta get it filled or whatever. And the same thing by the compactor side, that always gets a crack about this ride and it runs down and it gets really, sometimes in the winter, it gets holes and it's really bumpy. And my concern was taking people in that way, you know, maybe
Because of the-
difficult, because if the guys are busy on the roads
Right.
in the winter. I was gonna bring that up later, with being
Well, this
it
is-
could be an issue.
Right,
So-
it could be an issue, but Matt, can you shed any light on that for us, please?
I agree with them. I think you're gonna have a problem going in that first driveway in the winter. No matter how much we sand it, it's dirt, we're gonna put the sand in it. And we're all running around with trucks, and we go hit it, and we're not carrying sand. So that's, you know, and we'll try our best, we'll send the trucks up for 10 o'clock in the morning, but during the snowstorm, when we're busy,
They
it
keep getting-
could be an issue.
Right, yeah. So that's, we'll see what happens, and we're not looking for people to get in wrecks and stuff like that. It's the same thing, if you go up to the next entrance or where it is now, you come back, maybe it's an issue going down, so we'll have to take a look at that, and if there's a problem, we're trying to adjust it, that's all we can do. We don't want anybody to go up there and slide off the road at all, that's not the idea.
Steve, the recyclable plastics got a number 2 here. There are no other numbers. Will they take all of them?
Anything with a number of triangle, right?
They will take all.
All of them? She said as long as there's a triangle with a number.
Right,
Any
right.
number?
Yeah, and then the rest of the stuff, any of that other plastic stuff, like the bottles, beer bottles.
Yes.
Food bin.
I have one other.
Go ahead,
So I came from Massachusetts 20 years ago, and at the time in Massachusetts, we had like an area where people could bring things that were usable and they could exchange.
Right, right.
And I am suggesting that, Miles and I suggested it actually to Josh a couple of years ago, to see if the town would be able to take things that people could use, but they, that are good, and they would like to exchange for other things.
Right, but yeah, I think there's some exchange things in time and stuff like that.
No,
That's
no,
something-
here,
I understand
here.
what you're saying, but again,
Steve, let me just
Right,
interject here for you. We did do it in the past, Pam, and I do remember that, but if you talk to the girls in the office, what ended up happening is there were people bringing not just the good stuff that could be reused, they ended up bringing everything, so it ended up being a junk pile instead of stuff that could be reused, and so then they decided to limit. I remember when they did it, I remember taking things up there.
At least a trial period would be nice, we could give it a try.
And what
I'm
that's
suggesting
a
that.
good point.
Where do glass bottles go?
Returnables,
No,
Recyclable.
in recycle, like a whiskey bottle in a recyclable bin, a wine bottle in a
Steve, you
recyclable.
don't, on those signs that you were handing out, those signs tell you which things go in which bin.
I just read them, that's why I'm looking for glass bottles.
No glass. The ones that we have, these signs, we've got up here again. They're gonna be definitive, they'll be a little bit more like household items, chairs, tables, beds, mattresses, metal, washer, dryer, so on, so like C&D shingles. This is preliminary that we started doing. So again, we can add on to these again, the corrugated ones is cardboard only. Refrigerated product, boxes are not recycled, food, beer, soda boxes, they go into the garbage, right? So these will be out and they will be in plain sight. This is the ones that Phil would make. Magazines, newspapers only, non-returnable plastic, those things over there. So this, they will have big, pardon me?
I just didn't see glass
No,
bottles.
glass bottles again. There are some towns have recyclable glass on the contract. Hague does not. So any, like a a whiskey bottle or a wine bottle goes in recyclable.
What is the recycling?
With the recyclable,
No, we've got numbers.
but we have recyclable bins right there, so we need to make a recyclable bin now. Good point.
Yeah, I thought we had done that, Steve. Yes.
Thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah, so my understanding is that this
Excuse
list
me,
is not,
someone's speaking, so for the rest of you, please just be quiet.
it's just not complete, right? I mean,
No, it's not complete. That's why we're having a meeting tonight.
okay, so I just wanted to make that clear. The other thing, and I might have missed this at the very beginning, I know you're looking for people to, work there, but, how many people are you going to have there? Because I think that's a big part of the problem, is that it's impossible to be collecting money, seeing who's putting the wrong things in the wrong places.
Right, right. And
Seems
again,
like you need a lot of people up here.
we understand that people put the stuff in the wrong place. There's two reasons that happens. First of all, it's not clearly marked. Everybody obviously here knows it's not clearly marked. If it is clearly marked, the other towns, as I mentioned before, don't have that problem. And I don't think the town of Warrensburg or Horicon has, IQs of 800 or whatever they are. I think people in our town are just as competent and intelligent to be able to put the stuff in the right place. Just as I mentioned before, the operators there say about the third trip handing out the paper and seeing the signs, they know where to put the stuff.
Okay, I'm also not saying that people in Hague are not competent. But there may be another problem. And there are signs, like when I go to put cardboard in that big container, and it very clearly says, break down your cardboard.
Yes, it does.
And there are a lot of people who don't. So
Right.
it's just laziness as far as I'm.
Right, right.
And also on the recyclable bin, it says, don't put your plastic bag in there. It says it right there when you're putting it in. What do I see? It's plastic bag.
bags.
So I actually I think maybe for the most part, people are doing the right thing, but you've got a few bad apples and you've got to have somebody controlling that because it ruins it for everyone else.
So we understand what you're saying. In the big cardboard thing, Ginger, it's going to be corrugated cardboard only. When you come up and the person is at the register, they will see what you've got and they will see that it's cardboard broken down and corrugated only goes into that particular thing. As far as putting stuff in the wrong bin, that's why, again, you guys, I'm just saying, I get boxes from Costco and you can, the great big square boxes, they probably have all of these big box stores. You can get them and when you pull up and it sits there. And I went to these other places and people pull up with these big boxes, like this goes there, here's a sheet where it tells the person exactly where to go. Again, I'm just going by what the other people at these other transfer stations have told me. About the second or third time, people bring the same stuff. They don't all of a sudden come up with different stuff. People, they eat the same stuff. They have the same boxes, so this goes here, this goes there, that goes there. Okay, next time, this goes here, that goes there. Okay, I got it. I know where to put it. And again, they go out after this happens and they look and the stuff is already sorted in the right thing. Again, if it's not sorted in the right place and our expenses rise, then one or two things have to happen. You just can't keep functioning in the red. And that's what we're trying to do. We want to make it so nobody puts the things in the wrong spot. People are smart and we don't want to keep running in the red.
Question. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Alice.
So there was a gentleman that asked what you would get for our tax dollars. Who was that? So the only reason we do not have a town tax is because we are part of Warren County and tourism puts thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in Warren County, and Hague benefits hugely from that. Even though, I hate to say it, we're not really even a tourist town. We are not a tourist town. If we are in Essex County, the people in Ticonderoga, oh yeah, they have a town tax. The only reason we do not is because of tourism in Warren County, and that's the truth. So, I don't know, I feel like our town could help with this whole thing.
That's the truth, the whole truth, and not like the truth.
Hi, my name's Joe McCallum. I live up there on top of the hill right next to Larry. And I spoke with Larry today and Bill, both long-term residents of the town. It's flying around that don't make clothes and they're not making money. So I live a stone's throw from them, and I bring a bag or two each week. And both of them and myself would agree that there should be perhaps, I don't know how many homesteads are in town, a $50 flat tax on all the homesteads in town. to help pay for the dump.
Yes.
Not graduated because, and I say that is because last week, and they made mention that we're gonna get $68,000 from the COVID. Okay, that's wonderful, and they're gonna put it towards the sewer district. And I believe that the sewer district needs the money, it's not making enough money, and they took a big increase lately. We do wanna protect the lake. Well, okay, I have to pay $400 every 4 years to pump my septic, but nobody's helping me with that, but my town taxes are to go help the sewer district. Every 10 years or 30 years, I have maybe perhaps put in the septic system in. So,
But your town taxes don't help the sewer district. There's a.
correct, I agree.
Okay,
But you're
just-
taking the COVID money and helping.
Right, but you also have to
Sewer
realize there are 50 pages of restrictions on that COVID money, and they have spelled out
Okay,
exactly how you
I'm
can
not
spell
arguing
it.
that.
Well, I just want you to be
Right, but
aware,
it's not.
we just can't take the money and spend it willy-nilly any way we want. We have to account to the federal government as to how we spent the money, and top
I'm
on the
not saying
list
it's
were
not a
things
good
like.
thing.
Okay.
One for all and all for one. This is one town. And if a resource is lost, it gets lost forever. So we need to buckle down and make sure that whatever we do here as a town, that we want the transfer station to remain in. If it's not a tax, that's okay too. I'm all for not having an extra tax. But I want to work with the town to make sure that longer term it does stay. And if you wanted me to, I could look at the general ledger and see all the postings to the expense and all the postings for labor and all that other kind of stuff. I just retired and I was in the lumberyard business for 40-some years. And I had a budget of $1.5 million every month. And I had to plan long-term and short-term, like we just had to fix the compactor up there. I don't know what it cost. Was it capitalized or was it a short-term expense? So, you know, these people maybe would like to know something along those lines, and then they could, you know, have more information.
You know, you brought up some very good points about, liking your work. There's an application. over there.
I just, give me a couple of years.
There's one over there, please fill it out, and you just raise
You
it.
gotta give me a couple of years.
Okay, thanks, Joe.
Yeah.
All right, next.
Sandy Mitchell, and I just have a suggestion. You just say newspapers and magazines only. I really think you should take scrap paper and also some of this other stuff. And if you don't take it, I'm gonna end up having a fire in my yard every week. And I think there's a more chance I can spend more money with the fire department than I can spend with the dump. Because, it's just paper.
But I got that down, scrap paper, where does it go? I appreciate that.
And
Right. And I will definitely have an answer for it. Like,
okay, and also included that shredded.
Okay, shredder. Thank you.
I'm just wondering, I don't quite understand the town's logic in not wanting to raise the taxes on this because it's unfair to the people who are wealthy enough to pay somebody to haul the garbage away. Is that what I heard?
I don't think that's correct. That's an assumption we're making.
Then what is your logic on not being
Why
unfair to some?
should we have a tax for something that we don't need to tax on? People on the sewer district are on the sewer district because that was formed a long time ago. There's no need to put a tax on this, we're at the
Not
point
talking
right
the
now.
sewer district. I'm
I
talking
know what you're talking about, but I don't think there's a need, and then I don't think there's a need to put a tax on this or have extra people pay. If a person wants to go to the dump, that's an obligation. If you want to take your stuff to Ticonderoga or Orca, if you want to get Ace to come and pick it up, that's your choice. But again, it's not being used by everybody, so it's not fair. I say, okay, you've got to pay a tax now. I put myself in the curb. Why do I have to pay a tax? I put myself in the curb. It doesn't make any sense.
Shouldn't that be a decision the voters should make? Rather than just
Do you want to put it on the ballot?
Sure, perhaps. Yeah, I think it'd be good to vote on the ballot. I used to live in a town in Vermont, Proctor, and granted it had high taxes, but one of the nice things about it was I forget what day of the week it was, trucks would come in to every house in town, pick up everybody's garbage and take it away.
Good.
And you didn't have problems. But the other thing too is that we make this expensive or inconvenient for the individuals, you're gonna start seeing garbage on the highways.
Well, don't you think we know that, how do you think that we got New Hague Road cleaned up. We petitioned the state to get the people out of Mariah shop. That took about 2 years. We understand why we don't want to close the dump. We understand that's probably going to be a problem. But our concern right now is to keep this place dump running. And we're close, and if we follow some of these procedures and some of these new pricing things, we'll find out if it works.
I'd be interested in seeing what the increase in taxes would be if the town were to fund it publicly.
620 residents at $95 per person will cover the expenditures of what they want a year.
Yeah, that's per person, but what's the per dollar value on a house? You know, that's per person. Somebody living on New Haven Road isn't gonna be paying as much as somebody on Lake Shore Drive.
Because of how far they drive. Sure, understandable.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Ginger?
Okay, so I have two things. First of all, a couple people online have asked me to ask questions, so I'll do that first. And it has to do with the hours of the dump, so don't shoot the messenger here. But one person said it's going to take a lot longer to process people through, and so you might need to extend the hours. Another person said that they only have one car and they work, and it's nearly impossible to get to the dump during the hours that it's open. So I don't know, either like extending them earlier in the morning, maybe they don't even need longer hours, maybe they just need hours when the people aren't at work. And I might suggest that that person get in touch with you directly to discuss that, if that's okay, because I don't know what hours they work.
That's fine.
And I also just wanted to second what Bob said. When I was listening to him, I thought, yeah, it is actually a hearing, an informational meeting. We wanted to hear from people, but it almost seemed like the decision had already been made to a certain extent. So I'm wondering, I don't know, if you don't want to somehow, whether it's on the ballot or do a survey of residents to find out if you can put the numbers down, what it would cost. And whether people would be in agreement with that.
Okay.
So, because you're trying to gather information, so.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Carol?
Have you thought about contacting high school to
What?
see if there is a person or persons that would be willing to come up as volunteers to help out, at least initially?
School kids?
School kids.
We can't even do lifeguards like we used to be able to do lifeguards.
Have you contacted the guidance department?
No, that's a good idea, but what are they gonna do in September, October, November?
Are people available Saturday, I'm sure.
All right, I'll ask the school.
And the school may even have a program where they would be allowed to work on Wednesdays.
Well, ask them, thank you. Then hurt to ask, that's for sure.
Yes, sir.
I've got a question or a comment I'm asking out of the neighbors. The trash builds up in the different categories you enumerated.
Right.
And a truck comes by, it's high. Should that truck goes away partially loaded, we lose money.
That's correct.
If that truck is fully loaded, that's what we want.
Right.
And I don't know how this works, but if you can arrange, maybe there's a savings there.
Right, what we do with that is when you see a full, we call dispatch is what it's called. We know when the compactor goes, it stops, it can't take anymore. We can look into the recycle and see when it's full, right? We get, Matt's guys come up from the shed with the backhoes and crack it down. So when we can't squash it down anymore, that's when we call them and they have to come and take it.
It's all squashed down, is that a full load?
Well, it's up to the top, so they put covers over it so it doesn't go down the street. So again, if the top is up here, they don't want to clean it up because it blows out the back. So the guys come up with that and squash it down.
once you squash it down, does that fill the truck or does it leave it partly empty?
See, most of the time, those things go down when they're filled. We
Right,
try
yeah,
to
we try-
avoid them going when they're
We
partial.
don't want it to be half full, we want it to be full. Right, and that's when they make the call.
Don't make it half-assed, yes.
Right, thank you.
Pat, you're trying to get your hand up, I see it.
Before then,
All right, go ahead, sir. Yes, your hand was up. I
Pete
see.
Maltese, 51.
Right,
First of all, I have a very, very steep hill coming up on Woodruff Road.
right.
And I've been very pleased with the way the highway department has done their job, because I have never slipped and slid since, and that was at the worst times, and was always amazed that this was not like Long Island, where I had to get out of my feet and walk because nobody came to track. So I was very pleased, and I'm sure the highway department will continue to do whatever they have to do to make it right. So I'm comfortable with what you said, Steve. I'm a little bit disillusioned why we should have to pay somebody to take away scrap metal. I'm not saying that we should say they should pay us, but at least it should be a wash.
Yeah, we're on the county bid, and I hear what you're saying, and again, the county contracts these things up, and we're part of the one county bid. And again, I tried to get this guy from down below, and I can't remember the name of the company, I'm sorry, to come up, and he says, it's just too far. And the county sets the basic, the parameters on that. Again, if we're on the county bid, which we have done, and that's just how they got it structured. I get what you're saying, because again, somebody's benefiting from it.
Absolutely.
Right, right.
Steve, I do remember mentioning to you way back that Horicon contracts with someone who leaves a container there. They all bring the metal, dump the metal in the container. That company hauls that container away and then pays Horicon for what was in it. I mentioned that to you a long time. I'm not sure who the company was,
I can't remember.
but I do know that's what they do, and that's what I kept saying. Couldn't we try something like that, that we would have our own container up there, contract with somebody else, so that the metals would go in that container and we got all the way.
I'll give it a call.
That money would be ours instead of hauling it away and.
We tried that, so Horicon does that, again, I don't
Yeah, they
know.
do.
I can call, I'll give a call to tomorrow and ask them. And
That's
again,
what
if
we
they
have
have
with the
some-
highway department, we have our own container out back, and we put our metal in, and we contact the county to haul it down to whoever the closest junk dealer is, because that's cheaper, we can haul it all the way to Albany, but then it costs us more money for transportation, and then down gets a check for our
Right,
material, which we normally don't let our money go until we got a earmark for something, we sort of save our metal, and then when we need something, we don't have to ask for it. Just gotta talk about it.
we could call Sylvia, she can certainly tell us. All right, anyone else in the audience? Pat, I'm sorry.
okay, I'll wait it to the end, see, I was good. I have one question, because you said Ricky Myers is gonna fill in, right? Did I get
No,
that?
he filled in because
No, I'm just saying, all I'm saying is we need, I don't know how we need to do it, but we need to just have a comprehensive plan that whether it's Wally, Leo, we have a backup person that we could throw in there. There's gotta be a way.
I'm not gonna disagree with you on that, Pat. I truly do
We
the
have-
same thing.
We do have one person in town who has stated that he may be interested, and we're gonna follow up with that. And right now, it's
Yes,
not
we have to have
exactly-
somebody, if either one of those people aren't available.
Right.
We shouldn't be beating the bushes. We should have somebody lined up that we said, call up and say, hey,
But
guess what?
remember, we put an ad in the paper, and so far I've got one guy never called me back, the other guy broke his arm, and the other guy didn't qualify. But we do have one person that we're talking to that may be able to help,
Okay.
which is a plus.
And,
Wait a minute, Pat, you had another question.
well, it's not really a question. I know we're gonna have these bins and they're all gonna be marked. But you know, everybody really truly has to be conscious of what they're doing. When I-
Absolutely.
No, just,
That's all I'm saying, absolutely.
no, yeah, and Steve knows, I put cardboard signs that would go away with every dumpster and I make a new one. And I write, please break down cardboard, move to the front, thank you, with smiling face. So maybe one of the things we should do that we can get, because I know we get paid for cardboard. Maybe we need to look into, and it might be a little bit more expensive, but it may work out in the end, is a portable compactor like they have at Rogers Rock, that we wouldn't have to be wasting 3/4 of that thing, because even when the highway department are good enough and they come and push it in, they can't even get that stuff flat. Where I think if we had the compactor, and like the regular garbage, it's the same kind of setup, we could, except for it's portable. We could just every so often push the button and have all the cardboard go front. I think if we're getting paid for that, that might be something we really need to kind of maybe look into, one of those portable compactors. And I know they have one at Rogers Rock, if you wanna go see what I'm talking about.
Thank you. I didn't know that.
I
I didn't know
mean,
they had it. Winnie?
I would like to know how you get the antifreeze out of the refrigerator, the humidifier, and the microwave.
There are people who come and they take the Freon out. It's not something you do on your own. There are people that's what they specialize in, and you have to contact them. They come, they take the Freon out, and they put a tag on it that says the Freon has been taken out. All right, go ahead, Winnie.
I had several thoughts, and on that Freon, I've seen an ad in the paper about somebody looking for Freon. My first question is, you're saying you don't have enough money, and then I hear you saying you're lowering prices on stuff. Why didn't you just make it $1 more a bag, or make it a reasonable amount to
Well,
increase?
because one thing about some of the pricing that we had, it could be right, wrong, or indifferent. It was just so hard to calculate that nobody could figure it out. And I think you can attest to that. I would bring C and D and go, oh Christ, how much is this? So that's why we went to pickup load, a 5-foot pickup load, a 7-foot pickup, 8-foot pickup load. We have trailer sizes too. Didn't make it onto the paper. So that's how we're looking at that. That way we can judge them. This is a 6-foot trailer, this is an 8-foot trailer, this is a 5-foot box in the back of the pickup truck.
But how many people come with just their recycled garbage bags, and rather than pickup trucks?
Oh, no, we're
Is it
saying
mostly-
garbage bags. No, we're just talking, I thought you meant C and D, I'm sorry.
No, I'm talking about just the average person. I
Okay.
normally have a small bag, but we pay $4 for it.
Right.
And I pay $5 to get rid of it.
Well, the thing is, can I interject one thing? I had garbage bags, small and big, and I took them to Horicon where they have a scale. So my $6 bag, when I took the Horicon one time, was $8.17 or something like that. It was an odd amount. Then I had a small bag, it was a $4 bag. I took it up there, it was $2.35. So, but they, they have to have a scale to be able to come up to that. So again,
So
that
it's
wasn't gonna
not,
average out, so I can't answer that, I'm sorry.
so it's not really based on the size of the bag, you're saying it depends on.
I took the bag up there, a $4 bag, and it didn't have a lot of weight in it, and they weighed theirs on the scale, so it weighed less. Then I took a $6 bag up there, and I had more than $6 worth of stuff in there, because it came up to $8.17. Don't forget, $8.17, that's sort of a lot of money. But the other bag, the $4 bag was like $2 or something. So,
Well,
yeah.
it still seems to me if the transfer station wanted to get more income, it would make sense to do it, because we're not charging by weight anyway.
Well, one time, we had talked about charging, getting a scale, do you remember that, Ed?
Yeah, we went
And
through all
we had
that.
a couple vendors that came in town and they just flipped. They said, so I gotta sit there, and then people say, well, what if I get behind a guy that has 30 bags? And you're weighing this, and they said, that's gonna, and then what happened is that particular vendor said, this is crazy. If they put a weight scale on there, we can't come, and they quit coming. That's their own prerogative, now they just take it somewhere else. But again, the other thing is, if you have a person, like, again, a vendor comes up, and I don't know if they ever come back, these vendors, but you get behind a guy who's got 30 bags to weigh, you're gonna be there until the cows come home. So that's why we just had the 6-4 bag.
I understand that, but we're not talking about weight anymore. You said the weight machine is for too expensive, so we're not even talking about it. It's a matter of common sense making money for the transfer station.
We could raise the price of bags if everybody wants to pay
We
more.
were just,
We talked about
we
that.
want to be fair to our constituents as well. And I'm gonna be honest with you, we sat there and spent a lot of time going over like 5 other transfer stations. We're on the top of the heap for what we charge per bag. Leo's there, he can vouch for that. There are some towns that get $2 for the bag that we charge $4. There are some that get $5 for what we charge $10. Our rates are higher than most of the, we look at Ticonderoga, Queensbury, Lake George, Chestertown, Horicon, and price of our bags, we are higher than like everybody else. So we certainly didn't want to say, okay, so let's jack this one up $1, this one $2, and this one $3. Okay, go ahead, Vinnie.
Some of the other towns that have a town tax. I'm just saying that to me, that would be.
But can I tell you something? Most of them, Winnie, are not running, they're running in the red. None of those are making lots of money on their landfill. Unfortunately, we're probably in the hole more than some of the others, but running a transfer station is not a money-making operation. That's all it boils down to.
No, but it's a practical need for people.
Absolutely.
That's why we're trying to
And
keep
that's
it
the
open.
bottom line.
Right.
And also this sorting business. I already have 3 separate boxes or containers at home.
Good.
For the
Good.
recycles,
Good.
the garbage, and the returnables.
Good.
Now I'm going to have to add probably 2 or 3 more, figure out where I'm going to have it for the other things. And the southern people, or the people who are here just occasionally, are not going to get used to it. This business about every 3 times you know what to do is fine for everybody who uses it on a regular basis. But it does not make sense for people, and if they come with a bag of garbage, what are they going to do? Sort through it to see which bin to put it in?
Right.
Just some
Right,
thoughts.
no, but we thought about that too, and again, that's why, you know, if we're talking about adding an expense, when the summer's over, the expense is gonna be by adding another person up there to help when they come up with their bag, put it here. You can tell them, hand them a paper, but you're gonna need somebody out there actually saying, okay, this goes here, you almost have to hold their hand to go around. Because again, I've seen people down at the beach coming up there, throwing stuff in the bag and the containers on there and say, household items only. And they go, well, it came from my house. I said, yeah, but so you're here all the time, take it to the dump. This is for somebody coming off a boat, no household items. You know, and, so again, people will take advantage of it when you know that and I know that. And it's just unfortunate, that's the time that we live in.
Yeah,
But I agree with what you're saying.
you have refrigerators, washing dryers, and other things that grills down here, yeah. So are you charging for washing dryers because they're metal?
Right.
Are you charging for them?
Everybody
Say
does.
it.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said. Sorry.
Are you charging for washing
Yeah.
dryers?
Yes.
Yeah, you're gonna say you are.
Yeah.
The other comment I'd make is in my town, we try to keep the cost lower in Northern Massachusetts, because when we didn't keep them lower, the dirt road I live on, other roads in town, that the trash don't there. People go out, we have 7 TVs in my road.
Yeah, we're not even taking TVs.
That's
Most
why-
places don't even have TVs. I don't know what other people do with TV.
People go out in the woods and they dump batteries, everything else, because they don't want to pay for it.
I'm sorry, but there is no TV, in the contract, there's no TVs.
No, I just, I just made a comment that, you raise the prices too much, people just don't.
We know that, we've had state people pick it up. You know, I'm very much aware of that, it's tough. Again, you can put signs out there, cameras, but they still pitch it, you know, and I agree 100%. So we're trying to keep the numbers so that it doesn't have to happen.
Josh had a comment.
Yeah, so first of all, listen to everyone here tonight. If there's anyone else, by all means, please speak also. But the best point that I heard, or one of the really good points, is the entry point, the new proposal of a new entry point. So I just think we have to take into consideration the safety of our residents, meaning even if it's a sunny day, we're still gonna have cars lined up on a hill and on the other hill that you drive up to get to the transfer station. So it's a lot of the people that I know in this car don't drive Lexuses and cars that are checking their brakes and fluids and I mean, I'm just saying that an accident could happen so quickly. Really, to me, it just makes the most sense. It seems like Steve's idea is he wants to be able to have a stopping point so that everybody can't just drive through and have free run of the whole town transfer station. And I get that, he's trying to bring some sense of clarity and organization to it. But I think you just need to set up a new gate, like maybe over there where the cardboard container is. And then, you know, that way everyone's parked on a flat spot for the most part. It just, I mean, I'm just thinking about safety when I say something like that.
That's an interesting point, I like that.
Right.
Yeah, we can put the cat box where we need it, where it's nice and safe, you know, that's a good point, Don.
Right. Second point that I would make is, you know, I think that Joe McKellar made a really good point. When I hear that, I mean, I didn't know that that was decided, I guess, that we're putting 68K of the COVID money into the sewer district.
Josh,
What's
last board meeting, that was exactly what I said.
We didn't vote on it, did we?
All I said, we were looking at spending it. We had 2 years to get the money. We got half of it this year, we got the other half. We looked at what we needed to deal with the most, and that's why we said perhaps the sewer is where we should start. So I didn't mean to interrupt you, but it was, we did discuss it. I did say that's what we were looking at doing.
Right, and I'm not saying you didn't. I'm just saying that I think that we should consider putting it into something that all residents can benefit from. And the last thing that I'll say that is very important to understand, you know, when I hear thoughts of closing the transfer station, now, yes, we need to try to make a correction and get us from a $28,000 loss to half of that, or whatever we can do to somehow break even. I absolutely agree. But it's also very important that everyone in this room knows that our town runs at a hugely in the positive every single year. Like the 28 grand is a drop in the bucket almost. I think last year it was like almost $500,000 profited into our bank account. Okay, so when I hear about talks about shutting down the transfer station over this month, it drives me crazy. It really does. And I can't even fathom I mean, I think this is a wonderful thing that we're trying to get it a little bit better, but it shouldn't be in the conversation about shutting it down at all. That's just my take. I want to make sure it's very clear that everyone knows that we are not hurting for money, town of
Point taken. I think we're about ready to wrap up, but Mary, I'll listen to you and then.
Okay. I have a suggestion just because I think there's going to be a terrible backup if somebody sits there and says, oh, hi, Charlie. Yeah, you get this and this and this, and everybody's waiting behind. And one thing to help that would be for Sammy to tell Charlie it's gonna be $8, here's your slip. And he doesn't handle any money at all at that point. Because then Charlie has to go in his pocket and get his money. So somebody could be up by again, not like Josh says, not change the direction. You come in that way, someone stands there, they say, how much you're gonna go? Do you know how to get around? Yes, okay. You get a JID or something, then you owe $10. So then you can go at your own pace to drop the things off in the various bins. And then before you leave, like now, you pay somebody. And I think if one person in the beginning checks everything, tells you how much you've got, and you have to pay them, then it's just gonna back the whole thing up there.
So you would have them total it out as they come in and
That's the
pay as
come
they
in,
exit.
this is what you do now, you remember that the cardboard was there, yes, so I remember, okay. And then they're free to go at their own pace, putting their stuff where they need to.
Not a bad idea.
And they pay at the very end.
Like you write a slip, here's your slip, you have the record of it, right?
Yeah, because otherwise it's just, I can't imagine there's a lineup.
All right, Pat, last.
Can I just say one thing, because you kind of went to somebody over my head before I was
Sorry about
talking,
that.
so. Basically, the real concern is, we need, I don't know where we can find money in the budget somewhere, whatever, but we need to try to find a way to keep it open, because I'm speaking not for just myself, but for the organization I run and represent, which we know is the largest part of this community, which is the senior citizens. And I would hate to have to think that, God forbid this place, and I know we're doing our best, and that's why I'm saying I think we really need to find the money to keep it open. Because I would hate to think about them driving up to Tycoon Road on that back road,
I think, Pat,
and something happened.
that's
So I think we
last
just need to
resort,
really
it's not,
work
based on
on
mine.
it.
It's not
To
like
find the
top
money
on the
somewhere.
list, I just
That's
want to
it.
realize
That's
we're
all I
trying
have
to
to
make
say.
it run more efficiently so that maybe we can just eliminate the problem. So I am gonna wrap it up at this point. I think we've had a good cross-section of comments. We're here, if you have comments you want to make, or you go home and you say, well, I thought about this and I think maybe you should try. We're more than willing to hear from you. We're just throwing out ideas. It's not like we haven't spent all kinds of time coming up with a solution. We got handed this back because Casella had done it for almost all the years that I had been supervisor, and they were running in the hole, and that's why they finally came and said, we don't want to do it anymore, the town has to take it back over. So I guess when we took it over, we knew we were going to be running in the hole because they had been running in the hole, and they were the ones with the trucks that were being operated, and if they couldn't make it run when it was their equipment was doing it, then we really shouldn't have expected that we could run it not being in the hole. So
I
that's
did
it.
ask other companies to come, and they came up and looked it over, and they just walked away.
They just said, if we're not gonna make money, we're not interested in
They weren't
helping.
interested, all three of them, they said, we're not interested. And at least they came and took a look.
So I want to thank you all again for coming. We appreciate the comments that you made. Like I said, if you come up with any more, feel free to contact us. And
We'll work on it.
Steve has a few people he has to contact now to get some information for you, so he'll also work on that. So with that, I'm going to entertain a motion to adjourn.
So,
Steve, yeah. Thank you all for coming.
Steve, yeah.